Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be recreating this hero section right here from Family Style. We are familystyle.com. Shout out to them for this wonderful little design. And basically what I want to do is I want to create this simple structure, and I want to add these little effects right here. And we're going to generate these little icons using Midjourney, and we're going to kind of try to use the same style like they do. So basically they have like this paper style. So if you were to zoom in, you can see that there's like this nice little paper style. There's also this little custom cursor. We can try to replicate that as well. And I found this website in the Framer gallery. So if you go to framer.com/gallery, there's a nice list of websites that are all built in Framer, and they are very impressive. And this is one of them. So shout out to them. They did a wonderful job. And let's get started with replicating this hero section and generating these different icons. All right, so the first thing we want to do is obviously open a new Framer file. And we want to open different viewports, because if you watch my other videos, I always try to build responsively, simultaneously. So let's do that. And let's go back to Chrome, and I want to actually take a nice little screenshot of this so I can place it into my Framer canvas. So right here, and let's put this here on the side. And what we want to do is let's set up a structure. So I want to see how this reacts when we go downwards. So we have going like this, and then eventually there's this nice little navbar going like this. Now let's go back to Framer, and for the navbar, what I want to do is I actually want to use a plugin called Kompa. And Kompa, basically you can sign up for free, and you have a few free components that you can use. In this case, I want to use this one, right? And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't really want to create a navbar from scratch. I think that it's much easier to just use a already existing component to help you. So let's just copy this and bring this into our component, into our navbar component. So what I did was just double click here and come in here, and here this is how it looks like. So we're not going to have this drop down feature. It's pretty cool, but we don't need it for this one. And we don't really need this or this, so we can just delete this. So right now we just have this part, and again here for this mobile, we don't really need this. Now for this, what we can do is just create a similar style to this. So we can call this YouTube tutorial, and make this much smaller, maybe like 14 pixels, and a little bit less bold. I can probably see what type of font they're using. They're probably using this one. So let me just inspect and hover over this, and we can see it's ABC Diatype. I think this is a custom font, so we won't really be able to use this. So let me just see ABC. No, they don't have anything like that. Diatype. No. Okay. So let's just keep it like this. It's no problem. Let's just delete this icon. And then for this logo stack, what we're going to do is we're going to create a padding. So something like this, 10 pixels, maybe even less on the top and bottom. So something like 5 on the top, 5 on the bottom. And then we can just make this background. We can add a fill to this and make the background blue. Keep this white. And eventually we would want to have some type of style like this. I really like how it's, kind of short and kind of like compressed in a way. So we can eventually look at something like that. So I found something called Hubo Sans, And what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a little bit of a letter separation, something like this. That looks good. Maybe even make it a bit smaller, so not 14 but 12. And these can also be about 12 pixels. We just have to go into this component, unlink and replace all, and go down here and make this about 12 pixels. Boom. All right, now we're back home. It's looking more and more similar to what we have here. This might actually have to be a little bit bigger, but we can do that at the very end. Let's just delete this button. Let's style this button to be similar to the one that we have here, which is quite an interesting button. So they have a ball on the left, a ball on the right. So let's try to do that. Why not? So going back to Framer, I'm gonna build this from scratch actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a text. I'm gonna get a text and put contact. And then in this text, we're going to actually make this into a stack that's going to be fit content. And then here we're going to have be padding 5 on each side and give this a nice fill of this blue that they're using, and give this a radius, something like this. And I prefer if this has a little bit more padding on the right and left, so we can actually do that so it's not so, compressed. And now what we want is we want another rectangle that is the same height, I would say, as this. Well, we can do it with the height later, and we want to see what icon they're using. They're using this right arrow. So let's go here. Let's go to plus and click on icon. Click on this feather one. And then let's just decrease the size a bit. And let's search for arrow right. And boom, we have it. Let's put it in here. Let's give this a layout. And let's make sure that this is fit. And this fill can be set to blue. And this arrow can be set to white. And what we need here is we need a little bit of padding everywhere. Needs to be kind of the same height as this thing. So I would say something like this is good. And then what we want to do is we want to add some radius. So it's a complete circle. Copy this here, move it like that, put this into its own stack. Make sure that this is fit content and that there is 0 gap. And now what we can do is create a button by creating a component called button. And here what we have to do is just for the hover state, create a hover state and make this go invisible. And in this one, make this go visible and make this second one go invisible. So if I were to put this now in the navbar, like so, we can do that. And let's just rename this to like work. Boom. Let's make sure that everything is a little bit larger. I don't like the 12. I like the 16 a bit more. So let's select this. Let's select this. Let's add a little bit more padding. There we go. Just needed one little touch. Boom. And this needs to be fit content. And now that I see this can do with one more. There we go. And this with one more. Boom. We got that. Let's make sure that these are set to 16 again. Go back here. Make sure our logo is set to 16. And now we're getting ourselves a good nav bar that looks a lot like what they have. So for this, we can just make sure that this, well, we can just go like this, delete this. I'll put this somewhere down here. We'll see how we do that. Not so important because we want to focus on this main part, right? So we got that going. Let's just set this to fill. Let's make sure that everything is in their own thing. Okay, perfect. Now what we can do, make sure that this is set to fit content. Now what we can do is the following. Let's just press play and see how this reacts. Good. And let's start building this hero section. So we have the first font, which is introducing. And let's go back to Chrome and kind of take note of everything to see how big these fonts are and what types of fonts they're using. Remember that they're using sometimes custom fonts that we can use. So 40, this is a image actually, which is interesting. But we can recreate this without having an image. And this is 24. So 40, I would say 70 something and 24. Okay. So how do we do this? Let's add a text. Let's write random text like this. Let's put this out here. And let's make this color black. And let's make sure that this is set to fit. And this would be not VDS, it would be introducing. And then we can add the all caps style by going like this and putting transform, I believe. Yeah, capitalize uppercase. There we go. So introducing. And then we duplicate this and we put family, and then we can duplicate this again, I would say, style, and then we can remove this uppercase thing from here, and then we can just duplicate this one, bring it down here, and then write this as a new brand studio. So in this case, we'll put introducing our tutorial or YouTube tutorials. And okay, so we got that. Now what we want to do is we want to put all of these into its own stack. And we want to combine some certain parts. So we want this to be like the large header. We want this to be the small one. This also be the small one. We want these to be more closer to each other than this one. So we can put like add stack, top. This would be the text. And then we can style everything. So this can be 40, right? Everything would have to be fill. This would have to be fill as well. Fill. And let's put this in the middle. Let's make sure that all of these different texts are set to fill. And let's put them in the middle. So introducing, this is pretty big. So this is going to be much bigger. So let's put 76. And this one is going to be, I believe, even bigger. So 94. And then this one is going to be 24. And then these are going to be closer, something like 0. These are also going to be way closer to each other. And I would even go ahead and try to decrease this size to 1. Same here. And then again, readjust this to be something like 10. And then add more gap here in the bottom, like 40. A new brand studio. This is going to be kind of like a, how would you call it? Like a serif font. So let's just find some serif font that we can use for now. Something like this would be good. This is going to have a lighter font. This is going to have a bold. And this should also be something bold. So let's put serif. But like, no, this one is too sharp. This one. Serif. Not so serif. Yeah, something like this is cool. Why not? And we can even adjust the size. It doesn't have to be that large one, right? This doesn't have to be 40. We're just eyeballing this. This can be something like maybe 24 as well. And this can be a bit smaller, like 56. Introducing YouTube tutorials. Wow, okay. So we have the text, and then we want to add the text into a stack called hero. And this hero section will have a max width of 1200 pixels. We don't want it to be so large. And we're going to have to add some padding everywhere. Let's put like 120 in the top. On the right and left, we can put something like 60. So if we go down to 60, something like this. And then let's just make these, put these into this blue color, which at this point we can, save as a style. And maybe we can even decrease this to be 48. A new lifestyle, I guess. A new lifestyle. Perfect. Introducing YouTube tutorials, a new lifestyle. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to create some cool little brand assets like this. And in order to do that, we have to open Midjourney. So let me close this inspect tool, and I have Midjourney open right here. And if you go to Midjourney, you can see a bunch of different little tools out there. There's, cartoons like this. There's photorealistic ones. There's 3D models. There's clay models. And in this case, we want to make something like that. We want to kind of create our own style. And in order to do that, it's really cool if you search. I think it's here, clay 3D. You can search like different types of styles and try to replicate it. So we can look for something that we think is cool and use it for our own brand assets, right? So I like this clay style. I think it's, has its own, this is actually pretty cool. Plastiline character sculpture. We can use this text like this and put like a red television with a white play button in the middle, and just press enter. And I'm going to save this reference, and then I'm going to put white background, because we need a white background in order to remove the background in Framer. So that's one reference that we can use. Another one is this one, a human in form of Play-Doh. So we can go like this, a red play button in the middle. In the form of Play-Doh, white background. So let's see what they create. So we have something like this. This is cool. You see? We already have some interesting ones that we can use. I like this one, for example. I like it a lot. Or this one is pretty nice. And so then we can use this text and we can create other things. So what would be cool? We're going to create our own ones. We can create a plant as well. So we have a play thing and a plant. So we can use this and plastiline character sculpture made by a 5-year-old. A green plant in a vase. So we could put something like this and see what comes. So green plant in a vase. Oh, these are all mine. So let me go like this. Green plant in a vase. Yeah, so this something like this is what I want to create. So they're all coming up with faces, which is something I don't think is very cool. Maybe we can use a plastiline character sculpture. A plastiline sculpture, not character sculpture. Although this is nice, something like this would be cool, but I want it to be without the face, obviously. Okay, there we go. Now it's starting to come up. Something like this would be wonderful. So I'm going to start saving this. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this one. And then I'm going to go to Framer, and I'm going to go ahead and start placing these things. So I have them under my downloads, and I'm going to basically just place them here, and boom, they're right here. So let's go back to Chrome, and let's see what else they have. So they have like a little windmill, a chameleon, an origami figure. We can put like a camera stand, right? A camera stand would be cool. So let's use this. A plastiline sculpture made by a 5-year-old. A camera stand. So that might be a good, interesting one to see. And then we can use this. And what else can we use? What else do I use? A light, a camera light. I can rerun this. Something like this would be cool. I'm just going to save this one. Go back to Framer. And paste this like this. And what I can start doing already is using this plugin called Remove Background and run it. and it should run eventually. Let's see how long it's going to take. And then at the same time, I'm going to start generating more things. Sometimes it doesn't generate in my end with some of these things, but you can try it out yourself. So I'm going to use this one and a sculpture, a black office chair. There we go. Black office chair, a monitor screen, a MacBook Pro. Let's see. This one looks good. Save image. Okay, so it worked. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So right now we got 4. We need, about 3 more, let's say. We can put like a... I'm trying to see it around my office. A speaker, like a... Okay, the MacBook Pro didn't really... A computer. Let's just put a comma instead of a Pasadena sculpture of a computer made by a 5-year-old. White background. Of a notebook. So I like this a lot. Save image. Might be a little bit too detailed. Maybe we can use a pencil. A pencil. So let's go back to Framer. Let's bring in this 5th one. Let's start removing the backgrounds. Go back to Chrome. And this one looks good. Might want to rerun this a little bit. If not, I'll just use one of these. This one, why not? Just to give you guys some understanding of what we can do. Let's do one more. A water bottle. So let's go like this. Oh, water bottle, or a coffee mug would be a good one. Of a coffee mug. Yeah, this looks good. Very simple. Save image. Go back to Framer. And we have enough to work with. So now let's just continue removing the background. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So after about exactly 2 minutes of removing backgrounds, that's how fast it does it. What we can do is we can start, putting these things in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as you can see, I dropped it in here, and it has to be under this hero. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is placed in a frame that is set to fill and fill, and this would be position absolute. So we have to make sure that this is absolute, this frame. This is absolute as well. And let's make sure that these are relative 100% to the parent stack, and make sure that this is centered, right? And now we got this big TV in the middle. We just want to position it to be, smaller down here, kind of in the same height. So actually, let's make sure that we carefully keep it in this frame that we created, that we'll have to actually rename in a sec. but this is one way. So I'm gonna rename this to background or to 3D. Let's put it 3D, it's better. And let's start bringing in other things into this. And we gotta carefully do it by, making sure to look into the layers panel. And some things are gonna be behind other things, and in order to make sure that you keep that all in track, you just have to make sure that the Z index is higher for certain things. So for this, we can keep this flower and this TV kind of here, like so. We can bring another thing like let's put this one, right? We can put this guy up here. Just make sure that it's in the correct area. Let's just put it like this. Boom. And now he's there. Let's decrease the size to be smaller. Let's put him up here and make it a bit smaller. You can also, rotate things a little bit. It's also something we can do. This looks nice. Then we would want to put this here as well. Make sure that it is set here. And we can, again, make sure to decrease the size here. Now that I see it, I think it's best if this chair is on the left side and this TV is set on the right side. And this TV is set here on the right side, and we might have a nice, we can put the flowers also on the very right. And notice the other screens are kind of getting a little bit screwed up. We have to make sure that everything is responsive. That's another thing that I need to point out to you guys. And let's bring in this computer screen, bring it in here, put it into this 3D frame, and make sure that it is maybe it's facing the left, so best if it stays on the right side, kind of like looking at the text. This could be something like looking at the text like this. This can also be looking at towards the text. And we can put our little coffee mug at the very top or close to the top, something like this. And put them like this, decrease the size, and let's make sure that it is just going upwards. And maybe make it a little bit smaller. I would say we can even put this coffee mug here with this one. Like together. And this pencil can go, I don't know, somewhere here as well. Let's bring this to 0. Let's decrease the size a bit. And let's make this go like this, and maybe together with this one. You know what? We don't even need this pencil, I would say. Something like this is enough, I would say. So this is looking good. It's looking quite, you know, nice. These things can kind of float as well, I would say. They're like floating around in space. Kind of gives that feel. And now what we can do is we can, if we press play, we have this nice little thing and it's responsive, going, you know, upwards, like expanding the screen. But for these smaller screens, they're not really so responsive. So let's go ahead and try to make sure that this works everywhere else. Let's bring these other things in here. We need the little plants down here. We need this TV in front of the plants because they are meant for each other. And then we need this one, this laptop, and we need our little coffee mug next to our little laptop. And then for the phone version, I guess we don't really need all of them. Or we do. It doesn't really, it's up to you at the end of the day. But you could, you know, delete some of these if you wanted to. If you think it's too much. I believe they have just like 2 or 3 icons, but we could just keep them like this. And again, we have this text, and we would want this YouTube to be a bit smaller in the phone version, and we would want these tutorials to also be smaller, like 56. Now let's just look for the other ones. Let's put this at 0. Coffee mug. See, like for example, the coffee mug we don't even need. And this one. Let's see where the other things are. This has to be 0. So this is what the TV. TV can be like this, and the plants can get deleted. This is how the phone would look like. So we got something like this, and basically looking like this, right? This looks obviously not so nice. So we just have to make sure that everything is centered. You know, everything is nice and centered here. This hero section is also set to centered. This would also be set to centered, aligned. Make sure that this is well. And then we can adjust some of the colors. Let's say that I don't want this blue style. I want it to be red like YouTube. So we can edit this style by just going like this, editing it to be red. And let's call this red. And in order to edit this text, let's just lock this. And let's go into here. And we can make sure that this is not red. We can make this black, for example. This can be black. We can edit it however we want. We can add a nice little gradient to this. So it's red and dark red somehow. And then for the navbar, we can just set this to be red. And this contact, everything can be set to red instead of the blue. So we have something a little bit more unique that matches what we're trying to build, right? So this is it. This is how it would look like with the icons placed. Now what we would need is just to have this nice little balance everywhere, that it kind of does this effect that it, loops, a loop effect. So it's a mirror. We want to remove this rotate. We want it to go offset upwards -10. And we can try to see how that would look like. So it's looking good. Maybe it shouldn't be 10, it should be, maybe like 6. And some of them, so I'm going to remove this, and some of these, the ones that are like heavier, are going to be actually less, excuse me, and have a little bit of a delay. So we can kind of see that there's like a little bit of a movement here, right? We can even remove the delay. I don't really like it so much. So we're just gonna have the different sizing perspective. So that's basically it. That's kind of how to build it using custom icons. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's quite simple today, but it's really cool to, work with AI tools for, brand assets, creating custom styles. For example, they use like this paper style. We use the clay style, right? Ours is all made with plastiline clay. So I think that's pretty cool that we achieved that pretty quickly. And if you guys want to download this, the remix link is below. So please make sure to check that out. And I also do daily live builds. So you can check out my Discord below to learn more about that. I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys and build live client projects with you. So anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye-bye.